I'd like you all to imagine something with me. Imagine waking up in your custom designed and built bedroom. You have an open floor plan that allows you to walk right into your living room, kitchen, and workstation. You open your massive doors and look out. You see mountains, plains, the forest, your hometown, your parents' house, even your workplace. Anything. This is all possible through living in a van. In 2019, the U.S. Census Bureau estimated that 140,000 people were living in vehicles such as vans, RVs, and boats. This is a 30% increase from 3 years prior. Now, although this number might seem small now, the movement of living in a van has increased significantly since then. So this number is much greater now than in 2019. To preview my main questions will be answering what does van life entail, is it really that cost efficient, and what might life look like if you decide to settle down. Settling down being not living in a van. Now that we've seen my main questions, we will answer the first question, what does van life entail? Now, can anyone tell me problems or obstacles that might be included in living in a van? This question is very important because a lot of stigmas and stereotypes revolve living in a van, such as there's a messy and unorganized lifestyle that has a total lack of comfort. This is untrue because a lot of people who live in vans are minimalists, meaning they don't have a lot of stuff to clutter their space and everything. There also have been many developments living in a van that make it more apartment-like as well as more comfortable in general. Another stereotype may include that people who live in vans are always struggling for money. Now, this is especially untrue nowadays because people who live in vans can now have remote jobs, just as an influencer, which many people who live in vans are, a software developer, and a graphic designer. Living in a van is also much less expensive than living in a studio apartment. Another stereotype may include living in a van is only good for people who want to travel. Although many people take advantage of this, a lot of people decide to stay in one place and take advantage of other benefits that include van life, such as the convenience of location and being able to live more affordably. Now that we've discussed the question, what does van life entail, we'll move on to the question, is living in a van really that cost efficient? Now, this question is important because a lot of people go into van life because of how cost efficient it really is. These statistics were taken off of Zumper.com and GoBankingRates.com. It compares the cost per month between living in a studio apartment in Florida and a van. Now, the main difference, as you can see, between a studio apartment and a van is because of rent. Now, the rent, in this case, for a studio apartment is simple rent. In the case of a van, it is insurance and gas. In this case, it's much more generous to the studio apartment and less generous to the van, because this statistics takes $400 per month because of the van, for gas only. Now, in this case, with the studio apartment, there has been no statistics taken for gas, hotspots, or gym memberships at all. I would also like to state that a lot of people do not go into van life because of the initial cost it requires. Alongside buying a van, you'll also need to have the money to convert the van, which can be anywhere from $5,000, which is comfortable living, to $80,000, which is high-tech comfortable living, which is unnecessary, but it is possible if you'd like that. Now that we've discussed the question, is living in a van really that cost efficient, we will answer the question, what might life look like if you decide to settle down? Now, what kind of expectations and problems do you guys expect to have after college? All right. At the mention of college, a lot of you stated student loans. Now, that's an obvious answer because a lot of people have to deal with that later on in life. And the degree of student loans can vary depending on major and your degree of education. Now, if you live in a van, you can get rid of these initially and pay off them really quickly. If you don't, then you'll have to struggle with these for a long time. And since many of you are fully fledged adults, you also have to pay for normal living expenses. If you live in a van, things such as rent and utilities can be downgraded significantly. If you don't, these will still be normal living expenses that you have to deal with alongside student loans. You also don't get the convenience of benefits that involve living in vans, such as convenience of location, being able to travel, and lower cost of living overall. So after seeing my presentation, how many of you would even consider living in a van? All right. Out of you, how many of you are willing to plan for this kind of lifestyle? If so, here's some resources I found very interesting, such as the van conversion guide that deals with the cost and type of van conversions you can do yourself, and Jared Tochi's YouTube channel, which deals with touring vans and seeing how comfortable they are. Thank you for listening to my presentation.